Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here a quick guide for the fire turret Hydrahedron Runemaster in last Epoch. The fire turret Hydrahedron Runemaster is a very fast build that is built around the Hydrahedron Runic Invocation, which will shoot out fire projectiles at nearby enemies for a short duration. You can find a very detailed guide from LizardIRL that's almost the same as the one version I'm using here, but with some tweaks to make it suit my playstyle a bit better. Link for this will be in the description. The Hydrahedron skill auto-target enemies and at the same time dealing damage in small area on impact. It got great clear and will deploy each time we use our mobility skill Flame Rush. By being the Runemaster class, we get access to the Ancient Inscription, which will make it so we gain cooldown recovery speed per 4 intelligence. And by stacking as much cooldown recovery as possible, will make it so we are able to have multiple Hydrahedron up at the same time. We're using Immutable Order passive from the Runic Invocation tree, so we don't have to worry about getting the right runes in the right order to cast the Hydrahedron skill, which in this case is going to be Gon Ra Ra or Lightning Fire Fire. And basically it makes it so the first 3 skills will get mirrored from left to right, depending on the elemental tag the skills have on your action bar. And the box of Hydra is a big recommendation as it gives all kinds of buffs for the Hydrahedron skill. The relic is a pretty common drop though, and you can easily target farm this from the last ruin timeline. The playstyle of the build is very satisfying as we're basically always moving around with Flame Rush, and at the same time this will then deploy the Hydrahedron skill. And having a pretty strict loot filter, it's highly recommended as most of the loot will drop behind us while we do monoliths. We're using Frostwall to buff the damage even further for the Runic Invocation, but also this will work as a great source of defense for the build, as we're also getting Flame Ward each time we travel through it. This will basically make it so we can have permanent uptime of Flame Ward, which will provide a lot of great defensive perks like less damage taken from hits and also reduced elemental damage taken. We're also using Runebolt to generate mana if we would need it, and this will also boost the Runic Invocation even further with crit chance and also elemental damage. As the main damage comes from the Runic Invocation, we can take advantage of this by using the fundamental criterion, and here we have tons of damage multipliers we can use for Runic Invocation. First, we have up to 36% more damage while wielding a staff, as we're using the Gon rune as our first rune. And we also can stack tons of attunement on this build, as it also provides 3% more damage per attunement with the Ra rune as our second rune. With a little investment you can get around 200% damage multiplier from this chest for the Runic Invocation skill. For some pros, the Hydrahedron auto targets permanent uptime of your damage. It got some great clear speed, fast build as we can use Flame Rush very frequently, and also quite tanky as we can have permanent uptime of Flame Ward pretty much. For some cons here, it's very easy to miss out on loot, as most of it will drop behind us. It also requires a bit of positioning to have permanent uptime of our Flame Ward. And for the uniques, there's not too many that we need for this build, but there are some that really make this build shine. First, Box of Hydra is a huge piece for this build, as it boosts the Hydrahedron skill, and here we can get +2 level of Runic Invocation, Fire Penetration with the Fire Invocation, also chance to spawn another Hydrahedron on kill with the Fire skill with a 9-second cooldown, increase to the area, and also the cast rate for the Hydrahedron skill, and in this case the cast rate here is really important for this relic. Lastly, we also get some ward on hit and ward decay threshold. Another one is the fundamental criterion, which will provide with tons of damage multiplier for the Runic Invocation skill. Here we can get up to +3 to level of the Runic Invocation, different damage multiplier depending on what type of rune is the first, and this will also determine on what weapon you have to use. And for this build we are using a staff, as we are using the Gon rune as the first rune. It also provides 3 damage multiplier per different attribute and the rune combination as the second rune. So for this build is the achievement attributes that we are using, and the Ra rune is our second rune. And for the stats, try to go for health, resist, critical strike avoidance for the cap, increased cooldown recovery speed, attunement, intelligence, increased spell, fire or elemental damage, increased critical strike chance, multiplier, and also chance to shred armor on hit. And for the class specific stats, try to go for fire penetration with fire invocations and also the armor per Ra rune, plus the level of Runic Invocation, and also ward gain per rune consumed with Rune Invocation. For the idols, you want to get the Throne of Ambition for both damage and defense. You gain a stack of ambition when you hit a boss or rare enemy, and this gives us 2% more fire and cold damage and also 2% more armor per stack. And this can go up to a maximum of 20 stacks, and you lose all stack of ambition if you go 4 seconds without getting a stack. And here you also want to go for some grand idols with flat mana and increase fire damage with double effect if you have 300 or more maximum mana. And as long as you can stay over 300 mana, you can also go for some adorn idols here with up to 38 ward gain per rune consumed with Rune Invocation, and also increase fire damage with double effect if you have 300 or more maximum mana. For the blessings, some of the more noticeable ones is going to be from the Black Sun. Here you can go for Void Resist or the Critical Strike Multiplier, Ending the Storm for the Lightning Resistance, Reign of Dragon, you can get up to 20% to all resistance or Critical Strike Avoidance for the easy cap, the Age of Winter for the physical resistance, and Spirit of Fire for the chance to shred fire resist on hit. And let's go quickly the most important nodes for the skills, starting with Runic Invocation. So Runic Invocation is going to be our Hydrahedron skill and also our main damage ability. Elemental Lore makes it so we get some elemental penetration here per 3 intelligence. We're using Word of Ra here, so we get some extra spell fire damage if we have at least 1 Ra rune. Glyph Cover Dominions make it so the area for invocation will be increased. Runic Energy makes it so every second we go without casting a Runic Invocation we gain a stack of Runic Energy, and these when consumed will provide us some damage multiplier for the invocation skill. Immutable Order makes so we don't have to worry about getting the right runes in the right order. The first 3 skills will get mirrored from left to right depending on the elemental tag on the skills that we have on our action bar. And for our case, this is going to be Gon Ra Ra or Lightning Fire Fire. We get the lightning tag from the Runebolt, fire from the Frost Wall, and fire from the Flame Ward. We're using Runebolt here, and this is mainly going to be to recover mana and also to boost the Runic Invocation skill with even more damage. We're using Lightning Spear and also Jolting Spark to change the tags to pure lightning for the Runebolt skill. Arcane Restoration will make it so we gain mana when we hit a enemy. When we're hitting a enemy with the Runebolt, we gain a stack of Runeweaver, and this will provide some extra mana regen and also warn gain on mana spent per stack. Dissolve and Conquer now makes it so Runeweaver also grants you more elemental damage here per stack of armor shred on the target. Cosmic Tapestry also makes it so the Runic Invocation now also gets some extra crit chance per stack of Runewave. Runic Invocation now makes it so the projectiles now also auto-target enemies. We're using Frostwall here to boost the defense for our character and also provide extra damage for the Runic Invocation. First, Pyroglance will change the tag for the skill to Fire. Shield Touch makes so we will deal more damage here to shield enemies while we have an active Frostwall. Protection of Atrate will provide some extra ward when enemy pass through the wall. Shelter of Sheath, same as before, but instead will give us a small percent of the enemy's maximum health. Aspirational Arrival will make so after we pass through the frozen wall, our next Runic Invocation will be empowered with some extra damage. Prepared Wards make it so we now cast Flame Ward on ourselves when we pass through the frost wall. And the next skill is going to be Flame Ward, and this provides a ton of ward, damage reductions and other great stuff. First we have Barrier here, which will make it so we take less damage from hits. Prismatic Buffer makes so we take reduced elemental damage taken. Using Warmth so we get some extra mana regen. Dilation for the extra duration. And also Infusion so we get some extra increased fire damage. The last skill is going to be Flame Rush, and this is worth as our mobility skill, but also to proc the Hydrahedron skill. And to do this, we're using Epoch here, and this makes it so the Runic Invocation will be triggered when we exit Flame Rush. Blazing Flux for the mana efficiency and also the increased cooldown recovery speed. Runic Eclipse will make it so we take less damage taken here while we're using Flame Rush, and is also going double against dots. Lunar Protection gives us some flat ward per second during the Flame Rush, and also get some burst of ward when Flame Rush ends. Celestial Guidance makes so all these buffs now also persist after we used Flame Rush for a short duration. Solar Rush, so we get some extra speed and range for the Flame Rush. Smolder and Burn will apply some fire resist shred on enemies we pass through. And Fire Rater, just some extra defense here, makes so whenever you pass through an ignited enemy, you gain ward and consume all your ignite stacks on that enemy. This is really great to have if you have some extra ignite chance on your staff, for instance. And here a quick preview of the passive skill tree, but for more information about the build, I do recommend you go and check out the last Epoch build planner. Both for the passives and the skills, you can simply use the progression bar at the bottom to easily see when and where to progress in the build. To the top of the build planner, you can also go to loot filters, where you can find my ultimate loot filter with a lot of options depending on how strict you want it to be. Link for this will be in the description. So what do you think about the Fire Turret Hydrahedron Runemaster? Have you tried it out before or tried another version of it? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. If you want to support the channel even further, you can check out my Patreon for behind the scene footage, virtual hangouts and more. If you got any other questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!